So I finally got a chance to watch KPop Demon Hunters a few weeks ago, and it's awesome. You gotta watch it if you haven't. Here's my Letterboxd review. But today I wanted to talk about one specific aspect of the movie that I really appreciate, both as a musical fan and especially as an anime fan. First, check out this scene. Or this one. Do you notice something? In these scenes, the singing is non-diegetic, which means that the characters singing are not being heard by anyone else in universe. And this is a common device in traditional Western musicals and movie musicals, where they're used mainly as a tool to express to the real-world audience the inner emotions and thoughts of the characters. Think Part of Your World from The Little Mermaid, or Let It Go from Frozen, or Another Day of Sun from La La Land. In these scenes, the audience is shown the characters performing perfect impromptu song and sometimes dance numbers, a thing that in the real world would be totally out of the ordinary, but goes unacknowledged as such in musicals. But this is not common in musical anime. What is common is the opposite: diegetic musical sequences, where characters are singing or performing for an audience in universe as part of the plot. The word diegetic, by the way, is a general term in storytelling that refers to things that exist in the world of the narrative. So like, if you see a band performing on screen in a scene in a movie, that would be diegetic. But typically, a movie's soundtrack, i.e. the background music, is non-diegetic since it doesn't exist in universe. The characters aren't hearing it. And when we're talking about musicals specifically, non-diegetic musical sequences are almost more akin to fantasy or dream sequences. And musicals, at their very essence, are fantasies. In a classic musical, characters don't need to literally be professional singers or be skilled in singing, or have anything pre-prepared or rehearsed to be able to deliver a flawless improvised performance. Because in these moments, they're singing purely from the heart, and the song lyrics and dance moves are perfectly spontaneous. That's what makes musicals magical, even if they take place in the real world. And that's why I love them, and that's why I especially love musicals that incorporate these non-diegetic songs. Of course, in KPop Demon Hunters, a large part of the plot is diegetic songs. Huntrix releasing their new single Golden, then later brainstorming and writing their next song Takedown. Those songs, as well as the Saja Boys song Soda Pop, actually exist as K-pop songs in universe and are heard by other characters in the movie, so they're diegetic. But other songs in the movie, like How It's Done, Free, and What It Sounds Like, are completely impromptu and born out of the action or emotions of those scenes. These songs, or at least large parts of them, are not heard by other characters, which makes them non-diegetic. KPop Demon Hunters executive music producer Ian Eisendroth described the process of creating the songs like this. Early on, we really decided there are two kinds of songs in this film. One is diegetic, live performances that the characters are aware of. The other is more internal monologue, things the characters can't say out loud but that come through in song. K-pop doesn't usually do that second part, storytelling through song, so that was an opportunity. We had to create lyrics that sounded like the characters and move the story forward. And obviously, KPop Demon Hunters is not the first musical to do this kind of thing, but because it is an animated musical and the subject matter is Asian pop idols and South Korean culture, I can't help but think about South Korea's neighbor and fellow hub of internationally popular idols, culture, and animation, Japan. Now, obviously, it's impossible to watch KPop Demon Hunters without immediately seeing the visual influences and homages to Japanese anime. But as I've been alluding to, maybe anime could take a lesson from KPop Demon Hunters, because for some reason in Japan, musical anime almost never do non-diegetic songs. Of course, there are plenty of popular musical anime, or anime that feature a lot of original music sung on screen by the characters, like Love Live and Idolmaster, or Macross or Symphogear, and musical anime films like One Piece Film Red, Inuo, and Belle. Macross and Symphogear in particular might be the best comparisons to KPop Demon Hunters since they also involve performers who use music in battle. But in those shows, as well as almost all the other musical anime I just mentioned, when the characters sing, they're almost always canonically singing and being heard by other characters. They're diegetic. And to be clear, that's not a bad thing, but feels like a missed opportunity, because most of these anime musicals feature characters that are literally idols or singers by profession. But again, in classic musicals, characters don't need to be singers in order to sing well. Think Belle from Beauty and the Beast, Mulan from, Mulan, or Elphaba or Glinda from Wicked. Their singing or even dancing ability is not intended to be a character trait or plot point most of the time, because it's just for the real life audience. And even when it is a character trait or plot point, like in K-Pop Demon Hunters, obviously, you can still incorporate non-diegetic musical sequences and even musical sequences that transition from non-diegetic to diegetic, or vice versa within the same song. I especially love how when Golden is first played as a music video, of course that's diegetic, but it transitions to non-diegetic during the verse when we see Rumi singing privately to herself in front of the mirror. Then it transitions back to diegetic. And there's other songs like this reprise of Takedown, and the Saja Boys' Your Idol, which I think kind of straddle the line between diegetic and non-diegetic. K-Pop Demon Hunters shows how even characters who are canonically singers can take advantage of the full range of diegetic expression available to the musical genre. And why not? Idol characters in musical anime should be able to express themselves musically, not just through performing, but in a less literal way too. By the way, songs in musicals are not only used to express the inner emotions or thoughts of characters, as they can also be tools for exposition or to show the passage of time. In K-Pop Demon Hunters, for example, the song Golden is used to convey Mira and Zoe's backstories, Rumi's insecurities, as well as their outlooks moving forward. In recent memory, the closest I've seen a musical anime get to doing non-diegetic songs is with the new Rose of Versailles film, which does almost exactly what I'm talking about. Almost all of the musical sequences in the movie are actually non-diegetic and meant to be expressions of the character's inner emotions or exposition. The one weird thing though is that in all but one of the sequences, the characters' mouths never move. Huh. Like, did they think it would look silly if they were actually singing? In a musical? This strange choice, plus the fact that many of the scenes just hard cut to the fantasy musical sequences instead of smoothly transitioning into them, makes a lot of them feel unnatural and unnecessary. So, this movie is not the ideal example. Though for what it's worth, here's the one song in the film that actually shows the characters' mouths moving. There's also anime like Healer Girl, Princession Orchestra, Vivi Fluorite Eye's Song, the film Sing a Bit of Harmony, UN Idol Precure, and tons of other idol shows of course, as well as plenty of girl rock band anime that are all stuffed to the brim with original music sung on screen by the characters. But none of these series, to my knowledge, feature non-diegetic musical numbers. I do want to highlight Healer Girl for a minute though. The anime premiered in 2022 and was directed by Yasuhiro Irie, best known for directing Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Irie is a self-proclaimed fan of Broadway musicals, and when he made Healer Girl, he set out to make a musical anime in that same vein. But, as he said in an interview with Comic Natalie, it was my first time doing a musical, and there wasn't much precedent for doing a musical in a Japanese TV anime to begin with, so there was no established know-how for how to make it. So he had to pull slightly back on his original idea. The series still features a lot of singing though, as the characters live in a world where music can literally cure injuries and illnesses. But because of that premise, most, if not all of the music is indeed diegetic. But it does straddle the line quite a bit. Honestly, this is kind of random, but the best example I can think of a recent anime I've seen with a non-diegetic musical sequence is Shirobako the movie, which is not a musical, but it does become a full-on fantasy musical with a non-diegetic song in one single scene. And there's of course also the multimedia franchise Revue Starlight, which has actual live stage musicals. But as far as the anime series goes, I think it's debatable whether the musical sequences there are more diegetic or non-diegetic. I think it blurs the line in a really interesting way by tapping into surrealism, but it's not quite what I'm looking for. Older examples of anime that concretely have non-diegetic musical numbers include the supernatural reverse harem series Dance with Devils from 2015, which, wait, has the same director as a Rose of Versailles? And the horror series Red Garden from 2006. Look, I'm not saying anime like this don't exist, but they're few and far between, there's a lot of edge cases, and they're mostly pretty niche. I want to see Japan do a K-pop Demon Hunters level mainstream musical anime production with songs that explore the full range of diegesis. And I know you can do it, Japan! You already have an amazingly talented and overwhelmingly popular animation industry, and while maybe not as internationally renowned as South Korea's, an absolutely vibrant music scene in its own right. Not to mention with things like the Takarazuka Revue and Shiki Theater Company, you have a storied theater tradition and industry that already loves to turn anime into live stage musicals anyway. So just do that, but in the opposite direction. And honestly, with directors like Ai Yoshimura, Tomohiro Furukawa, and Yasuhiro Irie, I think it's only a matter of time. In 2021, Tomohiro Furukawa teased his next untitled project, which we know basically nothing about still, but it could very well be a musical anime. And in 2022, Yasuhiro Irie even made a musical anime short film titled Halloween Pajama, which is available for free on YouTube, based on his own self-published manga series. In it, the characters who are not canonically singers sing most of their lines without ever acknowledging that they're singing. That's a non-diegetic musical right there. In an interview with Full Frontal, Yasuhiro Irie even stated, "If I ever get the opportunity to make a longer anime, I want to keep in mind the musical aspect. I wish I could make it into a musical anime that resembles Wicked or Matilda the Musical, two musicals I love." So in any case, I think the future of musical anime in Japan is in safe hands. And hey, I'm no expert, I haven't watched everything, and there could be gaps in my research. So if you have examples of great musical anime that make use of non-diegetic songs, I'll be excited to see those kind recommendations in the comments below. Bonus points for anime that are not about singers or idols of any kind. And if you haven't already checked out K-Pop Demon Hunters yet, I do recommend it, especially if you like musicals. It's genuinely one of my favorite movies of the year so far. Anyway, thanks for watching guys, this was Andre's Shelf. Please like and subscribe. Also, hit the hype button if you see it below the video. This is a new feature YouTube is rolling out to help out smaller creators specifically, so it may or may not show up for you. If you're on mobile, you may have to update the YouTube app, but if you do see it, thank you so much for hitting it. You can also support the channel with the links in the description, and as always, have an awesome day.